What's up, MMA fans, and welcome to another episode of Knuckle Game Podcast, where we don't chase headlines, we chase understanding. I'm LBanger, and this one right here, this one got a little seasoning on it. I had to put a little seasoning on this one because on paper, you might look at Arman Tsarukyan and Mauricio Ruffy and say, wrestler versus striker, nah, too easy. This is pressure versus destruction. Control versus chaos. A wolf who wants to get close enough to bite you against a wood chipper that needs you to make one bad decision. And here's what makes this interesting. Arman probably should win this fight. But Mauricio Ruffy has exactly the kind of weapons that can make the word should get real expensive. So let's get into it. Let's get it. Let's start with Arman. Because when people talk about Tsarukyan, the conversation usually starts with wrestling, as it should. But don't reduce this man to good wrestler. That's lazy. Arman's real weapon is the way he makes you solve problems over and over and over again. He doesn't just shoot, he pressures. He changes levels. He makes you react. He gets his hands connected. And you're going for a ride. Now you're carrying the weight. You're fighting his hands. You're protecting your hips. You're trying to get off the fence. And while you're doing all of that, Arman is already working on the next problem. That's exhausting. Not just physically, but mentally. That's why I call him the wolf. A wolf doesn't need to knock the whole tree down. He just keeps biting and biting. Another bite and another bite. Until eventually, there ain't much left to bite. But here comes the wood chipper. Let's talk about Ruffy. Because Ruffy ain't trying to win a wrestling seminar. This man wants to turn your highlight reel into evidence. Ruffy is dangerous because his striking has that loose, confident, almost casual quality to it. Like he's not even trying to, no, he's not tense. Everything's just flowing. And that's when somebody's power becomes scary. Because he doesn't look like he's loading up. He's just letting it flow. And then, boom! The shot is already there. His combinations can come fast. His timing can punish bad entries. And when he gets comfortable, he starts to see things. He starts seeing things. And that's the problem for Arman. Because every time Arman changes levels, every time he closes distance, every time his head enters the danger zone, Ruffy gets an opportunity to say, "You sure about that? Bing, bing. You sure about that?" Now, this is where the fight gets good. Somebody's getting chewed or somebody's getting chopped. Because Arman doesn't need to stand there and prove that he can strike with Ruffy. He needs to make Ruffy work. Make him defend, make him reset, make him carry his weight, make him think about the takedown. Then Ruffy starts thinking down, Arman can start coming up. That's the game. But Ruffy's job is the exact opposite. He needs Arman entering, but he needs them to enter from too far away so he can see it coming. He needs that split second so he can set up that punch. He needs Arman to get impatient. He needs him shooting without a proper setup. Because you don't need 20 clean opportunities against a striker like Ruffy. You might only need one mistake. And that's why this matchup is dangerous. Arman could be winning, winning, and then make one bad entry, bang, in the wood chipper. He don't care about scorecards. You haven't watched his last fights? But hold up. We can't spend this whole episode talking about what Ruffy can do to Arman. Ruffy got a problem too. A big one. What happens when this fight stops looking pretty? What happens when there's no space? What happens when Arman gets close, gets chest to chest, and locks those hands and says, we're going for a ride? Now, Ruffy's got to work. Can Ruffy repeatedly get back to his feet? Can he defend the second attempt, the third attempt, the fourth attempt? What happens after he stuffs one takedown and Arman can immediately change into another one? And here's the big question. What happens to Ruffy's offense when wrestling starts living in his head? Because that's what elite grappling does. It doesn't only take you down. It doesn't allow you to have a peace of mind. It can change the way you strike. You're thinking about the takedown. So you stop planting your feet. You become hesitant to throw certain kicks. Your combination gets shorter. And then suddenly, the wood chip is still running, but somebody unplugged the damn extension cord. Now let's flip it. Because Arman has something at stake here too. Expectations. He's supposed to be the more proven man. He's supposed to have the more complete game. He's supposed to be the guy closer to the top. So what happens if Ruffy beats him? That's not just another loss. That's momentum gone. That's people asking questions Arman doesn't want them asking. Was that guy really good? Was he really that good? Or did we overrate him? Where does he go now? That's why this fight is bigger than wrestler versus striker. Ruffy has something to gain. Arman has something to lose. And psychologically, those are two completely different kinds of pressure. Chewed, chopped, and screwed. So now we come back to the title. Arman is the wolf. If this fight becomes physical, ugly, grindy, he can chew Ruffy up. No question. Little by little, position by position, minute by minute. But Ruffy, he's the wood chipper. And the wood chipper doesn't need 5 rounds to do its job. One bad entry, one clean counter, one combination you don't see coming, and Arman could get chopped. But here's the part that makes this whole thing interesting. If Arman loses with everything that's expected from him, with where he's supposed to be headed, with Ruffy trying to take his spot, Arman might be the one who gets screwed. Chewed, chopped, and screwed. Somebody's got to go. Now, how I see this fight, if I'm Ruffy, I want space. I want Arman reaching. I want him frustrated enough to start forcing entries. And every time he comes through that front door, I'm making him pay admission. But if I'm Arman, I'm not having a kickboxing match. No, sir. No, sir. I'm touching him. I'm backing him up. I'm making him defend. And I'm putting Ruffy's back near the fence. And I'm asking the same question until I get the answer I want. Can you stop me? Again, can you stop me? Again, you can't shut me down. Because if Ruffy can't answer that question consistently, this becomes a long night. Here's where I land with this. Ruffy is dangerous. We know this. I don't love making comfortable predictions against him because that power and that timing and that confidence is real. But over the course of the fight, I trust Arman's ability to create more ways to win. I trust the wrestling. I trust the pressure. I trust his ability to make Ruffy fight a fight he didn't necessarily come to fight. So I'm leaning Arman Tsarukyan. But got one eye on that wood chip. Because if Arman gets lazy, if he gets predictable, if he starts believing Ruffy can't catch him, that's usually when somebody gets caught. Now, I want to hear from you. Who's getting chewed? Who's getting chopped? And who's getting screwed? Is Arman about to remind everybody why he's one of the most dangerous men in the division? Or is Mauricio Ruffy about to turn this thing upside down? Drop your predictions in the comments. And don't just give me a name. Tell me why. Because this is Knuckle Game. And we don't chase headlines, we chase an understanding. If you enjoyed watching this episode, hit the like button and subscribe to Knuckle Game Podcast. Turn on the notifications because we're breaking this fight all the way down as September 19th gets closer. And until next time, keep your hands up, your chin tucked. I'm LBanger. This is Knuckle Game Podcast.